What's up people on the interwebs, I hope you're having an amazing day. So today I'm going to discuss some of the frustrating elements of living in Japan. Now, hopefully I shouldn't get any comments of, well, what if you hate those elements so much, why are you here? Because don't get me wrong, these elements are frustrating. But I think wherever you go in a country is never perfect, but it always comes to, especially when you move from one country to another, is I am currently finding I have a better standard of living here in Japan than in England. So these elements can be frustrating, but I'm still having a better time in Japan than I was having in England. These are also important elements to be aware. So if you ever want to move to Japan, you don't have that extreme that Japan is amazing, everything is better. It is important if you want to move to another country that you stay grounded, that sure, there's going to be elements that are better, but there's going to be elements that will come along that will be frustrating. So these are elements to be aware that will keep you grounded. So if you ever want to move to Japan, it's not a full culture smash shock to some of these things that can be frustrating. So let's dive straight on in. Okay, this is a big one that many people are aware, is the paperwork. Japan loves paperwork. You will need documents, you will need paper. They will want paperwork for the most random things sometimes. They just love it. So make sure you have your paperwork organized on top, have everything you need. If you're not sure what you need for the type of paperwork you need, make sure you ask someone who has done it before, check online, check all the resources, make sure you have your documents in order. And also, if you're not sure what to bring, sometimes bring more documents. It's better to have more documents than not enough in Japan. It's better to be over safe here because they just love the documents. I have seen people, especially for the driving test, if you have a license from your home country and you want to change to a Japanese license here, you have to bring so many documents. And to get an appointment, you have to book it months ahead. And it is heartbreaking to see people been organizing for a couple of months to change their license to a Japanese one, and they forgot one piece of important documentation that they couldn't do it. So they had to come back another time and wait again. And what is also very frustrating, if you want to be an English teacher in Japan, depending on the company you work for, you will have to take this day to exchange your license as Nenkyu, which is your annual holiday. So if you have forgotten that one piece of documentation, you have to come back another day. You don't lose 1 day of your Nenkyu. You could potentially lose 2 days of your Nenkyu. And if you ever work in Japan, you know how important Nenkyu is. That is like gold dust. So you do not want to waste it on silly mistakes like not bringing the correct paperwork. And what can also be frustrating with the paperwork process in Japan sometimes is because they are still very old-fashioned with their paperwork process, where many countries are moving to the digital age. If you bring an item that is digitalized, they do not like it. They want to see that digitalized item on a piece of paper. So you will tend to have to print off your digital items before. And personally, I wouldn't say that your original item is digitalized. I would say it is paper, since I have had a few occasions where I've told people that my original document is a digitalized form and they just freak out. That just blows their mind. So it's a lot easier to just print the item out and just say, this is the original document, here it is on paper. Just don't mention anything about digital versions because that just blows their minds. So that's one thing that you're gonna have to get used to, is the paperwork process in Japan. Now, don't get me wrong, the process can be annoying with all the paperwork, but as long as you have all the documents with you, then it can be a very streamlined process. It just becomes a nightmare if you have forgotten one piece of documentation, because that will just ruin the whole process and there is no substitution. So you will have to come back another day with all the correct documentation. Okay, number 2 is omiyage. Now, if you don't know what omiyage is, it is the Japanese gift-giving culture of snacks. This tends to be a big thing when you work in a company. So if one of the employees have gone away for holiday, they will tend to bring snacks for the whole office to be like, hey, while I was away, I was thinking of you. Now, don't get me wrong, I love this gift-giving culture of omiyage. I think it's great. I love receiving these little snacks when I come back into work. But the problem I find with this process is there's too many snacks. People go away a lot, or there tends to be a lot of bank holidays in Japan. So when there's a bank holiday, people will travel to different prefectures, or if they've gone on a business work trip, they will bring the snacks back. And sometimes it is just too much. I am drowning in omiyage. I have too many snacks at the moment. I will show you how many snacks I have at the moment. As you can see, just look at my table. I have so many omiyage snacks at the moment, where I know many people are like, well, you have many, just eat them, which one day I will eat them all. I will probably have to make another omiyage test tasting video, but I was not expecting to have this many snacks so soon from the last time I made one of those videos. And also the other problem I'm having with all these snacks at the moment is I'm trying to be very healthy at the moment. I am on a lifestyle change to get a lot fitter. So having all these snacks does not help that process of trying to be a lot more healthier. I don't want any more snacks. I want to be healthy. These are all extra calories that I do not need currently. So I find the omiyage process very frustrating at the moment because it's just too much. There's too many snacks. I am snacked out. I don't want to see another snack ever again. Okay, number 3 and our last one, which is a big one, is communication. Now, of course, a lot of you will probably be going, Kirsty, you moved to Japan, that you cannot speak the language. You have come there, you will need to learn Japanese and get better, which I do completely understand. I am studying a little bit of Japanese every day, and also with me living here, I do want to get my Japanese much better as well. But there's every days where it's frustrating that you cannot completely understand what they are saying and you are struggling with the information they're trying to tell you, and the whole communication process is just not working. Which, don't get me wrong, there's going to be times like that when you move to a country you cannot speak the language. But the one element I find very frustrating with this is I will always bring my phone. So if I have to communicate something that I cannot say, I will get Google Sensei to translate it. But you will find many Japanese people will start throwing full-blown conversations to you and you are not understanding, where there is times where I'm like, just bring out Google Sensei, translate it so I can understand what's going on, especially when it's very important information. I don't want to process the information wrong. So if it's something really important, bring out Google Sensei, and you'll be shocked how many Japanese people will not bring out Google Sensei. So far, I've only had 2 Japanese people that will bring out Google Sensei, or since I will have my phone, I will tell them, pull it into Google Sensei, because I do not understand. So that's the one thing I just find a little bit frustrating, because there's times I just wish, please bring your phone out, please bring out Google Sensei. Let's make sure we can actually communicate and understand. And then that also helps me improve my Japanese, because then I can understand what that type of sentence should be in English. And then when I hear it again, I know how to process it a lot better. So there's some times where I just wish they would bring out Google Sensei a little bit more when it comes to talking to me. So there's also another known thing with Japanese people, that there's times where they do want to talk to the foreigner in the area, but sometimes they are a little bit too shy. And my advice to them is, don't be shy. If you are not sure what to say to the person, or you cannot word it correctly in English, then again, just let's bring out Google Sensei. Google Sensei is such a great aid and support to help with the communication barrier. So that is just my biggest thing I'd like a bit more. I would just like people to bring Google Sensei out a little bit more than me always bringing out my phone and doing it, which is fine. Again, the solution works if I get my phone out to do it. But sometimes for the Japanese people, my phone is a struggle for them, since my phone is set to English. On my phone, I have it set to, it can change to the Japanese keyboard, but sometimes the layout is different, especially that I have a Samsung and not an Apple phone, and Apple is a very popular brand in Japan. So there's times where I'm like, we could communicate a little bit quicker if you bring your phone out and you get Google Sensei out as well. But there you guys have it. Those are 3 frustrating things I find with sometimes living in Japan. And like I said earlier, sure, they can be frustrating, but compared to the standard of living here, it is so much more better. And these are some small frustrating things that, sure, they can be annoying, but I can live with them. If you guys have lived in Japan before, or if you have any friends or family that have, let me know in the comments of any frustrating things you have found with living in Japan. If you want to stay up to date with my videos, make sure you subscribe. And just remember guys, keep being awesome, keep being amazing, and I will see you in the next Japan related video. Bye!